Few novels carry the legacy and emotional weight of Wuthering Heights. Written by Emily Bronte in 1847, it remains one of literature's most haunting explorations of love, obsession, and class. So when Emerald Fennell, a filmmaker known for bold, provocative storytelling, announced her reinterpretation, expectations were understandably high. Fennell, whose previous works include Promising Young Woman and Saltburn, has built a reputation for creating films that don't just ask for your attention, they demand it. Her version of Wuthering Heights follows that same philosophy, embracing an intensely stylized and emotionally heightened approach. From the very beginning, it's clear that this is not intended to be a faithful adaptation. Instead, Fennell has described her goal as recreating the feeling of a teenage girl reading the novel for a first time, a perspective that prioritizes emotion, intensity, and immediacy over strict fidelity to the source material. That intention is evident in every frame. The film is visually striking, often beautiful and undeniably crafted with care. Shot across the Yorkshire Dales, within the studio environments at Sky Studios Elstree, and the cinematography led by Elina Sangren, which uses a 35mm and VistaVision cameras to create a rich textured look that feels both classic and modern at once. The landscapes are sweeping, evocative, while the interiors are filled with symbolic detail. Even something as simple as the height of the ceiling is deliberate, with Heathcliff's home designed so that he can never quite stand upright, reinforcing the idea that he never truly belongs. Yet for all its visual ambition, the film feels strangely uncertain of what it wants to be. It is bold and expressive, but also excessive. It leans heavily into stylization, sometimes to the point where it becomes distracting. Rather than deepening the emotional experience, the film's heightened aesthetic often overwhelms it. There's a sense that it is constantly trying to provoke, to shock, or to impress, and in doing so, it occasionally loses sight of the story at its core. That disconnect is perhaps most evident in the central relationship between Catherine and Heathcliff. Played by Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi, the pair bring commitment and presence to their roles, but the chemistry between them never quite reaches the intensity the story demands. Robbie is, as always, a compelling performer, yet there is a sense that the role doesn't entirely suit her. Elordi, meanwhile, delivers a performance that is intense but occasionally veers too much into melodrama, contributing to a tone that at times feels closer to a soap opera rather than a tragic romance. As a result, the love story at the heart of the film never fully convinces. Instead of feeling like an all-consuming destructive bond, it comes across as something more surface-level, more performative. Catherine herself is written in a way that makes her difficult to connect with, often coming across as frustrating rather than tragic. Heathcliff too is presented with a roughness that lacks the deeper complexity that defines him in the novel. Now, the supporting cast, however, brings a sense of grounding to the film. Hong Chau delivers a strong and composed performance here as Nellie Dean, providing a much-needed anchor within the narrative. Shahid Latif is quietly effective here as Edgar. It's not a role that demands much, but Latif is more than sufficient. While Martin Clunes adds a weight in his role as Mr. Earnshaw, Clunes is a very underrated actor, and he really sinks his teeth into this very demanding role. Even Alison Oliver, despite giving a character written with a certain naivety, does what she has to with the material and performs it well, even though I can't say I really loved the way she was written as a character. Particularly the scene where, of course, now she is under the slavery, if you will, of Jacob Elordi's Heathcliff, even acting as a leashed dog at one point. There are also moments in the film that feel unnecessarily provocative. Certain scenes push boundaries in ways that seem designed more for shock value than narrative purpose, creating a tone that feels uneven. This ties into the broader issue with the film's identity. It attempts to be many things at once: a modern reinterpretation, a heightened romantic drama, a commentary on love and desire, but it never fully settles into any of them. The soundtrack adds another layer to the tension. Composed by Anthony Willis and featuring original songs, Charli XCX, the music is contemporary and bold, but it doesn't always blend seamlessly with the period setting. At times it feels as though it's pulling the viewer out of the experience rather than enhancing it, creating a disconnect between the film's visual world and its emotional tone. Behind the scenes, however, the film is undeniably impressive. A competitive bidding war saw Netflix reportedly offer $150 million for distribution rights, only for Warner Brothers to secure the project with a lower bid. Warner Brothers promised a full theatrical release, however, and a significant marketing campaign to boot. That decision paid off commercially, with the film going on to gross $240 million worldwide against an $80 million budget. Yet commercial success does not necessarily translate to artistic clarity. One of the most striking omissions in this adaptation is its limited engagement with the themes that define the original novel. Issues of class, race, and social hierarchy are central to the story of Heathcliff and Catherine. They are largely now sidelined. The film touches on these ideas but never fully explores them, leaving a sense that something essential had been lost in translation. Now, Robbie and Fennell have previously worked together. Robbie's Lucky Chap Entertainment produced Fennell's Promising Young Woman and Saltburn. the latter of which co-starred Elordi. Elordi had been contemplating taking a hiatus from acting before Fennell offered him the lead role without having to audition. The decision to cast a white actor as the racial ambiguous Heathcliff, described as a dark-skinned gypsy or lascar in the novel, sparked controversy. Though Heathcliff's provenance is never clearly stated, a China princess is cited in the novel as a possible mother, and he is called a Spanish castaway, more to generate confusion about the mysterious Byronic hero and manifest the remoteness of a village by showing how little they know of the world than to state his actual ethnicity. Fennell defended her decision to cast the Basque ascending actor Elordi, stating that he looked exactly like the illustration of Heathcliff from the first book that I read. The title was framed with quotation marks to signal that the film was not be a faithful adaptation, but rather a reinterpretation of the novel. The title sequence was rendered in stop-motion animation. Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi actually gave some of their own hair to use in the title sequence. In order for the two actresses playing Kathy, Margot Robbie, and Charlotte Millington to have consistent and similar freckles, hair and makeup department head Shane Miller worked with prosthetic designer to scan both their faces to produce a vacuum-formed mask so that they could recreate the freckles in the same way each day quickly. During the first week of filming, Jacob Elordi accidentally gave himself a second-degree burns on his back while he was taking a shower in the house where he was staying at. He stepped back against the steaming hot brass knob and had to go to hospital. As mentioned earlier, the kitchen ceiling measures 6 feet 4 inches, slightly shorter than Jacob Elordi's height of 6 feet 5 inches. According to production designer Susie Davies, this was intentional. Heathcliff can never fully stand upright in his house he ultimately owns, reflecting that he never really truly belonged there. The film only adapts the first half of the novel and does not continue into the next generation after Catherine's death. Now, in the end, Wuthering Heights is a film that is easy to admire, but harder to love. It is visually stunning, confidently directed, and filled with strong performances, yet it struggles to capture the emotional depth and thematic richness of its source material. I think Fennell tried too hard here to be an auteur rather than a director. And as I said, both Elordi and Robbie are good in their respective roles, yet I just don't feel their chemistry lights the screen. The film tries to be too sexualized as well, but also doesn't want to cross over into the more adult-themed visuals. So therefore it's almost stuck in no man's land, between being a highly sexualized romantic tale and trying to play it safe for family audiences. It needed to choose a lane and stick with it. So as I say, this is a solid, well-made film that delivers on a technical level, but falls short of truly resonating where it matters most, which of course is retelling this undeniable story. I'm completely open-minded to reinterpretation. In fact, I welcome it, and I applaud Fennell's ambition with this project, but unfortunately she might have just missed the mark. Wuthering Heights gets a 6.5 out of 10. So what did you think of Wuthering Heights? Please let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.